Welcome to the Sci-Fi Christian. I'm Ben Emerson.
I'm Ben DeBono.
I'm Koby and Reggie.
And we're here to discuss X-Men, Days of Future Past, the sequel to First Class. Ben and I have been looking forward to this for 3 years, and here it is. Ben, take it away.
So, this is a good movie.
Give it a rating. Let's do it.
I went in with, maybe we should say, let's do this. Let's go around before we analyze it. Give what you thought it was going to be, and then give what you actually would rank it, having seen it, out of 5.
Out of 5, okay.
I predicted a 4, and I would say I'm in between, bouncing back between a 4 and 4.5.
All right, Kobe?
I would also say I was predicting a 4, but I would say a solid 4.5.
I thought it was going to be a 5, and I'd probably downgrade to 4.5.
I think I thought it'd be a 4, and I think after seeing it, would grade it a 3.
3.
Wow.
So the lowest grade, 3. All right, but still, that's an average score. It's not bad.
Yeah.
So Ben, tell us what you liked.
Well, I think we should let Reggie go, because, we sat through all the credits for some.
Well, there is an
after credits.
It's not
scene.
worth it.
There is a short after credit scene featuring Apocalypse as a child building the pyramids. It's going to prepare us.
Oh, I thought that was Wolverine again.
No, it's going to prepare us for the next movie, which is called
Since
Apocalypse.
everything else
So
is Wolverine.
Reggie's been wanting to rant about this movie though since the second the credits started.
Yeah,
So I think we need to unleash the beast.
Well, I think actually, Ben and I had this conversation before, how we really enjoyed this storyline from the old cartoons that we used to watch, because that was a pretty provocative story about time travel with, I think Bishop is the main character, and meeting up with present day X-Men. Well, anyway, so pretty cool story. That's all on Netflix, he said. So anyway, so I kind of expected that kind of a story. I knew it was going to be a sequel to First Class, and it just wasn't. It was pretty contorted, very different from what I expected, so maybe that's why my ranking's low. I thought there were a lot of different plot holes, a lot of things that I think the storyboarders or they had to twist and change things to make the story what they wanted to be, rather than honoring some pretty cool story that already exists.
Here's the thing. In our movie review for First Class, one of the reasons I ranked it lower is because I was upset that there were some differences from the comics, but since then, 3 years have passed, I'm totally fine with that, because now looking back, I don't really love the X-Men movies in general, so I'm fine if they want to create a good story that doesn't stay true to the comics. So for example, Beast does not have the power to change back and forth from beast form to human form, but I don't care. That's
perfectly fine.
I'm totally fine with them changing that. And so
Blue Hulk.
in the comics, it's Kitty Pryde that actually transfers her consciousness to the past, and so I'm fine using Logan. I mean, I think that's better for the movie audience. And
it makes sense.
Yeah, all the
They explained
changes were good, I thought.
Yeah.
Ben?
This movie, they kind of had gone into this wanting to tie everything together from all the different X-Men movies, and this is where I think, Reggie, you were saying you didn't like it so much because it picks and chooses from The Last Stand quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
So we see a couple flashbacks to The Last Stand very briefly, but then it ignores things like
What happened to Professor X? He got destroyed.
Yeah, so
Magneto had lost his powers by the end of that movie.
Yep.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So when the movie starts, it starts in the future, and the Sentinels are attacking the X-Men, and it's basically their last stand.
So it wasn't the last stand the last time.
Yeah.
The really last stand this time.
It's the real
Another
last
stand.
stand. That's what they wanted to do.
So with the original continuity, they play pretty fast and loose with the first 3 films.
Yeah.
I didn't care about that at all, because to me, the much more intriguing timeline is the First Class timeline.
I agree.
That's what they paid a lot more attention to. It did a really good job with the sequel to First Class. Actually, for as much as I'm praising the movie for that, that's actually part of what knocks it down for me a bit, because it seems like by the end of the movie, we reverted back to focusing on the original X-Men trilogy. We see Cyclops and Jean Grey and Rogue, and to me it was like, whoa, we're back to the least interesting part of this franchise.
Yeah. I totally agree. Yeah, I just want them to focus on the First Class group. It's nice that at one point when I was thinking about doing this review, I was preparing to warn the audience that hadn't seen it. It's not really that focused on the original cast. It's almost all first class cast.
Yeah.
And then by the end, like you're saying, it got to be a much bigger part, which is not exactly what I would prefer.
To the point where I'm worried that when it comes to Apocalypse, we're not going to see the first class cast at all.
No, actually, I can ease your minds. They've said that
it's first class.
the Apocalypse movie is going to take place in the 80s now, so it's in the 60s, 70s, 80s with the first class cast.
Nice. Okay, that's good.
So, Koby, we haven't heard from you. Go ahead.
I only think I agree with what Matt and Ben have said about the movie. I really liked it. I'm glad it was the first class timeline. I don't really want to go back to the other timeline that they did. But I don't really have a problem with them going back to the older people, because that is set in the present time. First class is set in the past time. So maybe they're setting up stuff for future down the road for present time stuff. But I do like the X-Men First Class storyline. I want to see that more than I would want to see the present characters.
I hope that they recast all the X-Men we know, Cyclops, Storm,
I don't think
Jean
they'll
Grey.
do that though. They
have
just put
to.
them in the movie.
I
They
know,
just did
it's strange,
You can't
but
change it now.
just get some younger versions and let them grow up and do some new stories.
Well, I mean, that's the thing, though, is that the original timeline, is running out of steam quick, because we know Hugh Jackman's going to be done after Apocalypse in the next Wolverine movie. Ian McKellen and Patrick Stewart, I can't imagine, are going to be doing these much longer.
I heard Picard's coming back, so I'm just kidding. I'm just
okay.
As Picard.
As Picard.
That's going to be a surprise. So, any
Days of Future.
Here's something. Here's something else I thought was a strong point. So people were worried too many X-Men, too many new characters. Quicksilver had a great appearance in the movie, but it was minimal.
Oh my gosh, I was shocked that he was not in that movie.
That was good.
Although
I was fine with him not being in it much, but it felt like he just kind of disappeared.
Yeah, it did.
It's like, we're getting on the plane. Yeah, you just helped us break into the Pentagon, but go ahead, go back to your mom's house.
And it was weird that the only other time they showed him is sitting watching TV of the X-Men.
Yeah.
I was like, he can't even have a part later on somewhere?
Bad resolution.
So you think it would have been better if he would have come at the end that helped?
They need to do something else with him, or end his storyline a bit more convincingly.
Well, don't worry, he's in the Avengers.
Well,
that's true.
See, maybe it's just a thing I don't like much about movies or when you're writing, to create such a convenient character. Oh, he happens to have grown up in DC. Oh, it happens that he has the exact skill set. We need to break Magneto out, and once we're done with him, we're gone. It's just how convenient. Way too convenient to have put too much thought into the story. That's another, and I think there's way too many of those convenient moments in the movie.
When it comes to comic changes, again, I don't mind this, but Quicksilver's character in the comics is the son of Magneto, so obviously they're not going with that in this storyline, which is, again, totally fine.
That's fine.
Were there any differences from the comics that bothered you, Ben? Or, I mean, can you think of it? I mean, I know typically we don't care, but was there anything you noticed? Okay. Or just name some differences that you picked up on.
I don't read the comics.
Yeah, but you know some general facts.
Well, I listed a lot of X-Men on the last Sci-Fi Christian episode.
Koby, how about you?
Again, I don't read the comics, so I don't really know too many differences.
No, nothing really bothered me. I will say that
just stuff I've heard.
The one thing that would have been nice is I like this movie a lot, but I wish that both timelines I felt like needed one more movie in between their last ones and this one. So First Class, it would have been, there's so much story we just skipped over between the end of First Class and the start of this one.
Trying to save JFK, that would have been a great movie.
Or Professor X's breakdown. And so there's another movie there in between those two, and same thing, especially with how they ignored so much of Last Stand to do, scrap Last Stand, do an X-Men 3, and then have this one that leads us into this movie.
Yeah.
That's a great point. You could have watched this movie thinking that there was one before this, like, I must have missed one.
Exactly.
Because he's up and walking around again.
Yeah. That's interesting. Were there any characters that stuck out that you liked? I'll start. For new characters, power set wise, I loved I don't know if they named her very clearly in this movie, but her name is Blink, and she was the one that was able to create portals. That I mean, just visually,
they didn't never say names.
No, not really. So visually, though, that was just an awesome power set to watch. In general, though, I thought Michael Fassbender stole the show again, but James McAvoy stepped up again. So he was
pretty good too.
Those two actors, those were great catches for the X-Men franchise. Koby, favorite character?
I was pleasantly surprised by Quicksilver, honestly, because I've heard a lot of people say that he's supposed to be better version in the Avengers, and I thought this was a pretty good version of Quicksilver. So if it's supposed to be better, I'm only looking forward to that. But I loved his power set. He had moment just to himself in this movie where he stopped. Basically, didn't stop time, but he's just so fast.
That was fun.
He was able just to move stuff around. I thought that was pretty cool.
You missed that. You
I actually
were in the
did see it.
bathroom.
No, I came back from the bathroom.
You missed that part?
No, I didn't miss it.
Okay.
I came back from the bathroom. It was happening. I just watched it standing up
Oh,
by the stair because I didn't want to,
It was pretty
disturb
cool
everybody
scene.
during
It was
the awesome
fun
scene.
and it was funny and it was entertaining.
Yeah.
That's
Ben,
what it was.
Favorite character?
Yeah, definitely Michael Fassbender, James McAvoy. I mean, the relationship between those two characters is what these movies rise or fall on. Two phenomenal actors. I also, I gotta love Peter Dinklage as Mulder Trask.
Yeah, it was good. So I thought Hugh Jackman was great. I still like him as Wolverine. Reggie?
I'd say my favorite character was Magneto in the movie. I think.
Which one?
Oh, Michael Fassbender. Yeah, because I think between Patrick Stewart and
Ian McKellen
probably only got like 10 minutes of screen time.
Ian McKellen had about 3 lines.
Yeah.
Patrick Stewart got to talk.
And he died.
But I'd say Michael Fassbender. But I like the character that they wrote for him in the past Magneto because I think it was the only character that had, well, not the only, I suppose, James McAvoy, but it had a lot of depth to him. Because I thought it was neat how he was willing to kill Mystique.
Yeah.
Because he knows what the future would bring. And I think that speaks to a certain scary resolve that in Magneto that we saw a glimpse of in prior movies, and it was neat to see how cold he could be.
Yeah, because it seems like he sort of loves her.
Yeah.
Was there?
Right.
I mean, there was a
he does.
hint at a romantic relationship between them that didn't exist anymore. But do you think Magneto loves Raven, Ben?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think that's what adds to the depth that he's willing to give up what he loves for the potential future of his race.
What do you guys think of Mystique Raven? I was disappointed.
I mean,
I was very disappointed.
she's never been my favorite character. Her power is awesome to watch on a movie, but she's not the best character. I like Jennifer Lawrence fine.
See, I think they've done a lot of good stuff with her in First Class in this one.
But she doesn't stand out as the best character.
Not
And
at all.
they made her even more central this time than they did the first time.
Because, let's be honest here, there's a lot of casting in this movie that's done so that they could put people on posters.
That's very true.
So giving Jennifer Lawrence, she's become huge since First Class. But then you also mentioned like Ian McKellen has 3 lines. Halle Berry has like 3 lines.
Oh,
I mean, they cast all these people in
right.
the movie so that they could put them on the poster.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and like you said, Ben, the story focuses on James McAvoy and Michael Fassbender, whether they can actually work on screen. So she is kind of a side character, but you know, they built her up so well for this movie, and then there was like no depth to her really.
That's what I was gonna
That's
say.
what it was. It's just her fighting a lot.
I think she was a bit two-dimensional. Obviously, she had some revenge issues, but then that was it. It seemed like, of course, up until the end, but it just seemed odd that hopefully she's an intelligent person, but she was so hell-bent on that revenge that she couldn't be spoken to, or couldn't, I don't know, it just seemed she seemed too hard-headed.
Yeah, but the movie didn't need her to be any other way.
I thought
that's right, they didn't need her, and that's another convenience spot.
I thought they did a great job at, when it comes to Raven, they made the lack of the other actors from the first movie part of her story. So what I'm trying to say is, there was a bunch of characters in the first movie that didn't appear here. Azrael, Banshee, Angel, Emma Frost, and they explained that all of those characters weren't there because Bolivar Trask killed them, and then that was part of the motivation that influenced Mystique to want to go ahead and kill him. So that was cool.
Yeah,
indeed.
Another Deadpool project, seemingly.
Yeah, so
Right, to combine all their powers to create a machine.
The new Sentinels are awesome, and they never existed like this in the comics as far as I know. There was a lot of visually stunning things in this movie.
There were. Is there ever going to be a Deadpool?
Guys,
that's just a real question.
Ladybug just flew on me.
Is that good luck?
No.
That's bad luck.
Is it?
I don't know.
No, it's a red one.
Let's go!
It's a red one though, so you're fine.
All right, last words. Let's start with Reggie. Last words.
I think they cranked that out a little bit quicker. They could have spent a little bit more time in development.
Okay. Kobe?
I love the movie. I would recommend seeing it for sure. I hope they continue with the First Class storyline, and then if they have to, throw in the other people just because they're there. Sell more tickets that way. I want more Deadpool. I want a Deadpool, please.
I'll take the next one. So, I think I should have been blown away, and I feel like, yeah, that was really good. Some people were saying though, this is the new best superhero movie. I don't think I'd agree.
No.
So, would you still say First Class is better, Ben?
Yes.
It's tough. I don't know. But honestly, the parts that had the original timeline actors in it were the parts that dragged this movie down for me. So I don't know if it's better. I think if I had to decide right now, I'd say First Class is still better. But I did really like this. Ben, last word.
Last words. Really enjoyed the movie. Unlike you, Matt, I wasn't disappointed because I didn't set my expectations too high. Recommend it, which is a rarity for me for comic book
So
movies.
we're for it.
But I still want my First Class sequel. This wasn't it.
Do you think?
coming.
Okay.
No. Again, this goes back to I want the movie in between.
Yeah, I know.
First Class.
Yeah.
And this.
I tried to end it there, but then I just realized there is one small conversation we could have, which is, you mentioned the next one. We've already said it's going to be Apocalypse. So we've seen the beginning of this. This young child in ancient Egypt. It has massive powers. He's going to grow to become a huge villain in the X-Men universe.
He's building the pyramids.
What are your predictions for the next movie, and what do you want to see? And this will for sure be the end.
Wow.
These are the last words for real.
It's
So
gonna take me forever to upload.
yeah. So last words. What do you want to see in the next
find
movie?
the ladybug.
No, Ben, go ahead. You can start this time. So Ben, go ahead. What do you want to see next, and what are you expecting to see next?
I think Bryan Singer really likes his original timeline.
Oh no.
And so I think, yes, there might be the First Class people, but you're going to see even more of the original cast.
How
What
are
I
you-
want to see, no original cast. I want First Class stuff.
Okay, Koby.
Well, Hugh Jackman will be in that movie.
Yes.
Hands down.
He already announced that he was.
He's already in it. I don't know how they're going to do the original cast, though. I think it'd be tough to tie them in that way. But they did in this movie, so who knows. But First Class against Apocalypse, bring it on. That'll be fun.
What were you going to ask, Reggie?
Did you say that there was a time setting for the next for
80s.
Apocalypse? In the
The
80s.
It's going to be in the 80s. It's going to come out in
to me,
2016.
I don't know how you could do original casting.
Yeah.
Like, all these older
It'd be weird.
actors.
There'll be time travel again.
Yeah.
Kitty Pryde's going to take all of them back.
Yeah.
That was one thing that you brought up. Kitty Pryde's power is phasing through things. I'm not positive where she gets the time travel consciousness thing,
Doesn't
but
matter. It's sweet.
whatever. There you go.
Right.
Reggie, what do you want to see? What do you expect to see?
It's probably.
What I want to see, I can't answer that question.
Okay.
What I expect to see is the probably overused Wolverine, and he'll be the answer to everything again for some reason.
Because he is the greatest X-Men.
Well, Wolverine will definitely be in it. He's announced, Hugh Jackman has announced he's going to be in Apocalypse, and then the third Wolverine movie, and then he's done. I expect to see Wolverine. I expect not to see the original cast, and I really hope that the original timeline cast isn't there. I think it's going to be really focusing on the First Class cast. And what I hope, but I don't think it's true now, is I hope that they draw in elements of the Age of Apocalypse story from the 90s. But now, having seen this, I thought that maybe this movie would lead into Age of Apocalypse because they'd mess up the timeline even worse than it already was. But they didn't. They fixed things, it looks like. So I don't think it's going to be the Age of Apocalypse story, although it would be sweet if that's what they end up doing.
Find a way.
All right,
well,
I got to find that ladybug.
that's all from here. I'm Matt Anderson.
Reggie Marcy.
Koby and Reggie.
Mandy Bono.
And we are the Sci-Fi Christians, signing off.
Where'd you go, little guy?